2018, the year I went and saw an Aquaman movie. So let's talk about it. Aquaman is the big budget Hollywood production of the character of the same name. It is also the movie that nobody ever thought would get made, nor did anyone ever think it was going to be any good. The movie follows Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, a little while after the events of the Justice League movie. While those events are referenced just a little bit in the movie, they don't really have much bearing on this movie's story at all. So how about that story? What exactly is the story of an Aquaman movie? Well, without ruining anything, Aquaman is ultimately a coming-of-age story. He's called to Atlantis because his brother's about to take over the throne, and he's the only person who can challenge him for said throne. The people that bring Aquaman back don't want his brother to have the throne because he's wanting to start a war with the surface dwellers, aka us. He doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't want to be king of Atlantis. He doesn't really want much of anything to do with Atlantis, honestly. So he plays the whole reluctant hero thing. But he goes anyway because it's the right thing to do, and the fate of the world holds in the balance and all that. Through a course of events, Aquaman goes on a globe-trotting quest to find some things to do some stuff.
Found anything yet? We ain't found shit!
I'm trying to remain as spoiler-free as possible. And along the way, there's lots of battles and action scenes, some underwater, some above water, until the end where we have a huge climactic battle scene underwater and above water. And without spoiling anything, that's the basic story of Aquaman. The basic story itself isn't too deep, but that is okay, because the way that story is presented and played out is so much fun. If I had to think of one word to describe this movie, it would be fun. The movie is pretty much fun from beginning to end. There's not a lot of downtime. It moves at a brisk, smooth clip and doesn't let up until the final credits. And it seems like all the people on screen were having a blast making this movie. Jason Momoa in particular is an awesome hero, and he absolutely oozes charisma. And he is definitely one of the main reasons this movie works as well as it does. The movie knows its premise is ridiculous, and it's been a joke for a long time. But it totally goes with it, and it works. They play it serious when they need to, but never too serious. They have a good time when they need to, but never goofy. There's definitely some ham and cheese in this thing, but it's never goofy. And the action in the movie, which is what we're all here to see, is awesome. I never thought people fighting underwater could be so cool. And a lot of that is attributed to the top-notch special effects in this movie. This is definitely a special effects heavy movie. I mean, a lot of it takes place underwater. It would have to be. And after seeing some of the trailers, I was afraid it was just going to be a muddled mess with CGI just all over the place. But it's not. Everything looks great. The underwater world of Atlantis really seems like another world. It's extremely creative and very interesting to look at. And everything, even the stuff that takes place above water on land, looks fantastic. These are some really good special effects on display here. You can tell they threw some major money at this production. The movie kinda has two villains in Ocean Master and Black Manta. Ocean Master is the name that Aquaman's brother takes on, and Black Manta is a character that has a grudge against Aquaman that we find out why earlier in the film. Out of the two, I'd say Ocean Master is probably the main villain, and he's a pretty good villain, and his arc is fine. But Black Manta turns out to be the one you're really interested in. When I'd seen the pictures leading up to the film of Black Manta, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he looked kind of goofy, and I know that's how the character in the comic looks as well. But I mean, look at lots of comic book characters nowadays. They don't always necessarily match their movie counterparts, because sometimes goofy in the comic book works, but if you put a person in that costume in real life, it'd look pretty stupid. I thought with his big eyes off to the side and everything, he just looked kind of goofy. And while he has that in this movie, I don't know why, he looks awesome. And that character is badass. Every time that character's on screen, you want more of it. And while he does show up throughout the movie, he's not in it nearly enough. I really hope in the inevitable sequel, they focus more on Black Manta as the main villain. I really liked his character, and when he showed up in his Black Manta suit, he was pretty badass. Now, while there was a lot about this movie I really liked, it can't all be perfect. The only thing about this movie that really stood out to me as a negative would be some of the transitions. Some of them are a little rough. Everything's going pretty smooth throughout the first half of the movie. And right about the halfway mark, there's some transitions that are just really kind of jarring. They don't kill the experience, but they're definitely noticeable. Characters will be in one place, and they'll need to get to another completely different place. And in the very next scene, all of a sudden they'll just be there, without knowing how or when or what kind of passage of time there's been. Usually if a movie doesn't even show how a character got to a place, it'll insert another scene of some other character somewhere else doing something, and then when we come back to our other characters, and they're in another place, it gives us the illusion of a passage of time. But in this one, there were a few spots where it was just really jarring. They were here, and then they were there. And it's just kind of, wow, what just happened? Once again, it doesn't ruin the experience, but it does stand out. It kind of seems at times like they had some really cool ideas and set pieces that they wanted to put into the movie, but it doesn't seem like they always knew how to get their characters to that location that they needed for that scene. Either that or there were some scenes that were cut out for time. Either way, the transitions were a little jarring. Happens about 2 or 3 times after the halfway mark, and like I said, while it doesn't kill the experience, it's definitely noticeable. Beyond that, the only thing you can really point your finger at is that some of the acting is a little ham-fisted and some of the actors play their characters really big. But I didn't really see that as a negative. It really just kind of works with this movie. I mean, it's a movie about an underwater advanced civilization that talk to fish and have an ongoing power struggle of who should be the ocean master. I think it's okay if they ham it up a little bit. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this movie. A lot more than I ever thought I would. Aquaman has always been kind of a joke. If nothing else, I think it's kind of a feat that James Wan and Jason Momoa were able to take this character and make a movie this awesome. At the end of the day, I had a really good time with this movie and can't wait to see it again. And if this and Wonder Woman is the direction that the DCEU is going, then Marvel might want to watch out. I mean, I think they're okay right now. It's just 2 movies. But they're moving in the right direction. So I would absolutely say that Aquaman is worth a buy. If you have an opportunity to go see it in theaters, go see it. And when it comes out on home video, it deserves your money. So there it is, guys. My review of Aquaman. I never thought I'd say those words. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. It helps my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
That was an ancient relic passed down from my ancestors. I've got friends coming over tonight.
These lobsters, anyone hungry?
The Johnsons!
While they were making this movie and putting out promotional info about it and everything, all I could ever think about was Entourage. I mean, that's what we could have ended up with. But instead, we got this. And oh my god, it's fucking awesome. It shouldn't be, but it is.